flying. That's the eruption. Look at that column. We're flying right past it. You can see the lava glowing at the base. It's punching straight through the clouds. Unbelievable.
Recorded eruption in known history just came to life in one of the toughest landscapes on Earth. Haile Gubi, in Ethiopia's Danakil Depression about 15 kilometers southeast of Erta Ale, erupted this morning without any warning signs. The first indication arrived at 8:30 local time, when a sudden thermal spike appeared on satellite feeds. No local seismic alert, no field reports. Only a sharp burst of heat that signaled a surface break. Minutes later, the ash column rose past 10 kilometers. Updated readings pushed it toward 15 as the plume gained density. Gas sensors confirmed a strong sulfur dioxide release spreading across the basin. By mid-morning, Aqua and MODIS imagery tracked the ash as it moved across the Red Sea toward southwestern Arabia. The height and spread pointed to a high-energy event from a volcano that has never been documented erupting before today. Haile Gubi has no ground stations and almost no access routes, leaving satellite cycles as the only dependable source of updates. With no prior eruption record, analysts are building assessments from scratch. Current estimates place plume height between 10 and 15 kilometers. Aviation agencies along the Red Sea corridor are reviewing route safety, and the next drift projection will update with the upcoming satellite pass.
One of America's most dangerous volcano is rumbling. The talk is all about Mount Rainier, the gigantic volcano near Seattle, which of course is highly visible from the city, a fascinating peak with glaciers more than 4,000 meters tall. Now scientists have measured quite a rumbling in the depth of the volcano. It is being measured by seismological instruments, and it is sort of a constant swarm of very small earthquakes, not related to any tectonic faults, but related to the volcano. Obviously, scientists believe that this volcano can come roaring back to life. There is these measurements, these little quakes that indicating that hot magma, hot water and gas are probably rising within the volcano. The problem with this is the location, really, because it is very close to many big cities, including of course Seattle. Then there is Olympus, a town of 50,000 people right on the bottom of Mount Rainier. Of course it has been dormant for quite a while. The last eruption, which was a small one, was 1884. Then scientists believe the largest explosion really, or eruption, was 1,100 years ago. So this volcano hasn't caused any problems so far, unlike Mount St. Helens, which is part of the same mountain range which detonated in the 80s. Now the scientists are watching if this earthquake swarm, if this rumbling increases in intensity. So far they have been measuring this phenomenon for 70 hours straight, which is a little bit alarming, but many scientists said that an eruption is not quite imminent, but it is a warning sign that this mountain may come to life. The biggest danger, they warn, during an eruption would be mud flows coming down from the mountain at high speeds, which would consume anything in its way.
Joel 2:30. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. Kahala Yahweh, Bashem Yahshai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the pillars of smoke that have been popping up all of a sudden recently. Now, in these last couple of weeks, really this last week, there was a lot of volcanoes, and one namely has been on everybody's radar that watches these things, and that's the Ethiopian volcano that just erupted. This is a volcano that in time immemorial, since the time that these things have been recorded, right, this volcano, which was considered an extinct volcano, right, it wasn't considered an active volcano, but it suddenly had erupted. Now, besides these volcanoes, there's also been earthquakes, okay? As we've seen, Mount Rainier up here in Seattle on the west coast of America, Babylon the Great, as it's known in the Bible, it's been rumbling, right? Well, it's been rumbling because there's been earthquakes in, diverse places, right? The Messiah said that these were the signs that us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, plus all those whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline, should be on the lookout for, to give us a warning of when his second coming would be. Now, Seattle is up here, okay? I actually experienced this. If you were on the West Coast on the 27th of November, you would have felt this earthquake, right? I'm down here in Southern California by Los Angeles, right? And you can see here, this is it says, here we observe the seismic waves from the magnitude 6.0 earthquake that struck outside Anchorage, Alaska on Thanksgiving, ripple out across North America. Let's watch it real quick. You see the earthquake goes there, and you see how it ripples out, right? And not only that, but it comes down here to Seattle, which is probably that Mount Rainier shaking, which may result in a volcano eruption, right, if this continues to get bigger. And as you can see here, it came down to Los Angeles, right, and all the way across here. So because of these changes with the earth, with earthquakes in diverse places, it's causing all these pillars of smoke. These are signs that the Messiah said to look out for, right? It tells you here, this is Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes and in diverse places. And that's what's happening. Okay, so we could see that earthquakes are leading to pillars of smoke. And besides that, the Lord told us, right, that nations would rise up against nations. Isn't the Venezuela thing going on right now? Where America's going to invade Venezuela to get its oil, supposedly. Russia invaded Ukraine because of the constant aggression from NATO that's backing Ukraine against Russia in a proxy war, right? China is starting to rise up against Hong Kong or Taiwan, right? What was it? It was India rose up against Pakistan recently, and there's all these other nations that are just rising up against, other nations, and kingdoms against kingdoms, and why are we seeing these things? Well, because this is the time that was prophesied to occur, or where the events were prophesied to happen that the Messiah mentioned. This is 2 Ezra 9:6. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and endings in the effects and signs. Right? And that's what we're witnessing right now. We're witnessing the end, right, and with it comes effects. What are effects? Volcanoes, which then affect these old mountains, which ultimately make them into volcanoes, right? Effects. And what are the signs? Well, celestial signs, right? Signs in the heavens, right? The eclipses, the lunar eclipses, right? And also what's known as the precession of the equinox, right? Which is what counts at an age, right? This is basically the time it takes the Earth's equatorial tilt to go through a constellation, okay? And I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a bit. But that being said, the Messiah himself even told us that he was going to be with us until the end of the age. Now, here in the Bible, when you read it in English, it doesn't expand upon this, but this is why you have to go into the words. You have to actually go into the interlinear to see what that word means. This is Matthew's 28 and 20. Teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Okay? And right here, the word is not world. Okay? To understand the true meaning of this, you have to go to the interlinear, or the easier tool is simply just go to the Blue Letter Bible, look up the scripture, Matthew 20 and 20, and this is it, right? So we want to look up this word. So we go here. This is so it shows you every word. It's number, right? G for Greek, H for Hebrew, but it shows you the word, how to pronounce it, and let's go all the way down till we get to word. Here goes world. Let's click on it.
Strong's G 165. Ion.
All right. So right there, ion, right, or aeon. Well, what is an aeon, right? Well, it tells you here, for forever, an unbroken age. What's an age? Perpetuity of time, eternity, the world's universe, period of time, an age. Okay, we have to understand what that means. So an age, like I had mentioned, it has to do with how long it takes the Earth's tilt, right, or equatorial plane to pass through a constellation. Now this is a couple of thousands of years for this to happen. This man here, Graham Hancock, he writes a lot of interesting books, The Fingerprints of the Gods and all these things. He basically reveals that there was a previous world society that science, right, or archaeology and the powers that be of this world are trying to hide, right? He basically discusses what they refer to as the Atlanteans, right, this old previous world civilization, but which the Bible refers to as the Adamites, the people from which Adam and Eve were pulled out of. He's simply talking about that there was a previous world civilizations, and in this case here, he's actually explaining the precession of the equinox is, right, and how it's calculated. So it's good for us to understand what this is.
There's a body of myths from all around the world that include what turn out to be, expressed in the language of myth and the symbolism of myth, what they capture is extremely precise observations of a phenomenon called the precession of the equinoxes.
Right.
Which is, everybody's heard about the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and most people are aware that we're living towards the end of the age of Pisces right now. But what that actually means is that if you stand at any point on the Earth on the 21st of March, an hour before dawn, and look due east, you'll see a constellation sitting on the horizon in the place where the sun will shortly rise. Mm-hmm. And that constellation for the last 2,000 or so years has been Pisces. But because of a wobble on the axis of the Earth, which unfolds very, very slowly and it's very hard to observe, we're gradually tracking backwards. The sun as a pointer against the zodiac is gradually tracking backwards through the zodiac.
1 degree every 72 years.
1 degree every 72 years. That's the key figure. And it's moving through Pisces and into Aquarius. And the time will come very soon when, as you stand at dawn looking due east on the 21st of March, the spring equinox, you'll see Aquarius on the horizon, not Pisces. Now, to observe this process is not easy. and it requires an accurate interest in astronomy, accurate astronomical observations, accurate solar observations, and for some reason the numbers that relate to precession, as you rightly say, it unfolds at the rate of 1 degree every 72 years. There are 30 degrees to each house of the zodiac, so that means each age is 2,160 years. And since there are 12 houses of the zodiac, that gets you to 25,920 years for what's called the Great Year, when the entire cycle completes and comes back to the beginning again. It's astonishing that a whole sequence of numbers related to this particular issue, which really again is a relatively recent discovery of our civilization, are found in myths that go back to the dawn of time.
And people should be aware that, of course, the cycle changes in 2012. So all this buzz around 2012, it's important to know that there's all these ancient cultures that have all the numbers whose equations resolve to this year 2012.
It's very important to know that, and specifically because the year 2012, which I also go into at length in Fingerprints of the Gods, the year 2012 and its importance is signaled to us by the Mayan calendar.
Right.
Again, if you go in depth into the numerical system within the Mayan calendar, what do you find? You find the number 72 and multiples of the number 72 and divisors of the number 72 all over the Mayan calendar. So it's another processional object. So it's like a double check. When I find these numbers locked into architecture or myth or really scientific artifacts like the Mayan calendar, then I know that I'm dealing with the same system. And
so, as you could tell, he explains what the precession of the equinox is. Basically, it's the time that it takes the Earth's tilt to go through a constellation again, and it takes a long time, basically 2,000 years, and that is what is referred to as an age. Okay, so when the Earth, looking at east, right, you see the sun rising in the east. Behind it, you'll see a constellation. Okay, and again, just to clarify, this is astronomy, not astrology. Astrology is the horoscopes, and you're gonna feel this way, or bad luck's gonna happen to you on this day. That is a bunch of hocus pocus, right? That's a misinterpretation of the tree of life and all the constellations, that the Babylonians tried to determine, right? What Graham Hancock is pointing out here, and which is what I am saying that the Messiah was referencing, is referring to astronomy and astrological cycles. Okay, so like the Messiah said, he was going to be with us till the end of the age. Okay, and why is that? Well, because the Lord, in telling us, what to expect, what to look out for, he told us signs and effects that were going to take effect. What are some of those signs? Are celestial signs. Okay, and because we're now coming to the end of the age, as the man in that I forgot his name, but the guy with Graham Hancock, he explained that the end of the age of Pisces is considered around 2012, right? He mentioned the Mayan calendar, which is that basically was Issachar, right, or the Northern Kingdom, who had understanding of the stars, right? It tells us about Issachar, who today we would refer to as so-called Mexicans, that the Lord give them the understanding to understand the signs of heaven, and that's why the Aztec or Mayan calendar correlate with astrological events, the same events spoken about in the Bible, right? Because they are all referencing the celestial time clock, which we understand as the constellations. Okay, and again, right now you can see here Pisces. We're now at the end of the age of Pisces. We've already started to enter into the age of Aquarius. So what does that mean? That means since the time of the Messiah came onto the earth, the sun started to rise at the very beginning of the age of Pisces, right? They say the age of Pisces, where the sunrise would come right here. They say that started in 1 AD. Remember, the Messiah was born basically at that time. Okay, now the sun has been rising all the way through. Remember, 1 degree every 72 years, been going all the way through, and now we're coming to where the sun is now rising in the constellation of Aquarius. Okay, we're now in, or what is referred to as the age of Aquarius, or the end of the age. Okay, so we're in this time, Akim. Okay, so when the Messiah said it, and we can see through, astronomy, right, that we are now at the end, because again, it's going to be another 2,000 years before we're at the end of this age. Okay, so if you think that all these prophecies that are being spoken about nations rising up against nations, all the destructions of earth, and all things spoken about, right, the great falling away of the Negro, Latino, Native Americans to our true heritage and then coming back, if you think that's going to continue for another 2,000 years, you either belong in Sakari, or you're bought out, as Apostle Tahar says, right? This is why we know that we're living in those end times, because we're at the end of this age, and all these other events, these prophecies that we were told to look out for, the signs, are happening. This is Matthews 24, and let's start at 42. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. And there you go, okay? Because we are in that time, and the Lord can show up, right? The only thing they got to do is make that RFID implantable chip, or that brain chip, compulsory, right? They got to make it mandatory for you to take it to live in this society, and World War III has to kick off. So, hopefully this video was edifying, Akim. Until the next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rukakwadash. Shalom.